instead, if you look, we're writers. If we look at it as storytelling and sharing instead of marketing, I think it becomes more palatable. Hello, writers and crafters. I'm Valerie Isan, and this is episode 197 of the podcast, and it is August 27th, 2025, as I record this. Eric is without internet today. He did something to his modem. It crashed something, so it's just me today. Today, I want to talk to you about how to write a book that grows your business and honors your spirit. So this podcast episode speaks more directly to the soul-led entrepreneurs who want to write a book and see how writing that book can amplify your work without losing any authenticity, or feeling salesy. First, I want to thank our existing patrons for believing in our work offline. And here on the podcast, you can become a patron of the arts and of us at patreon.com/Valerie Isan, IHSAN, for books, writing instruction, coaching, planning, planner plays, monthly reflections. You can also go to patreon.com/Strange Air Stories for stories and novellas in the paranormal mystery genre written by Eric. Okay, my author update. I have been getting a lot of hits from the universe about tripling down on learning in public. And by universal signs, I mean, I just keep getting this repeated messaging from people, from podcasts, from coaches I know, from books I'm reading. It's all saying the same thing. So when that synchronicity hits, I know, all right, fine, I need to listen to this message. So I just can't wait until my life or my mission statement or my website has the perfect copy, where I can't just wait for everything to be perfect with a little bow on the message, on the lesson I've learned and create content with that. First, that just prevents me from posting anything at all because I want it to be perfect. And then second, I'm actually hearing a lot lately about people not wanting, gurus. They don't want to. I heard yesterday even this coach that I was with, she said, we just want to see real women figuring it out. And I really took that. That realization kind of hit me hard because I write memoirs about how I got through something that was difficult, but, had learned lessons along the way. And I read memoirs so that I can see how other people pull themselves out of the mire, accomplish something difficult, because I want to do that too. I want to be inspired by reading about them, by watching them on movies, I want to see how they do it so that I can do it too. That's why I read memoir. And I feel a calling to do that in my own writing when I write memoir. So I just need to learn in public. I need to triple down. I need to not be so connected with, not connected, that's not the right word. I need to not be so worried about having the pretty content and just showing up in the messy middle without a lesson learned already and put that out there. So I'm tripling down on showing up on Instagram every day. That's my goal, to put out an Instagram reel or a post and a story, multiples preferably, but at least that, and just show up with the way my life is going and what I'm learning as I'm learning it. And it's tough. I mean, part of the crappy thing about writing memoir is really showing up like not perfect at the beginning of the book so that you can show the progression and the growth by the end of the book. And that's really embarrassing and hard for me to do. And I'm sure I'm not the only one. You know, it's one thing to like publish a memoir and you show up kind of yucky at the beginning of the book. And then at the end, you're like, oh, look at how much I improved. And aren't you proud of me? Like, it's one thing to do that, but to show up like every day on Instagram with like no lessons learned here, just pruning a rose bush or whatever it is, you know, that feels like not important to me. But again, my colleague that I met with yesterday, another coach, she said, she said something that I wrote down immediately. She said, if I show up imperfect, that doesn't mean I'm bad. And that was mind-blowing to me. I've been so focused on trying to rewire or rewrite limiting beliefs that mean I have a limiting belief that means if I'm perfect, that equals I'm professional. Somehow I got it mixed up. And so I've been so focused on trying to like fix that limiting belief that I didn't take it a step further to, you know, even why do I think I'm imperfect to begin with? Like, why, if I think I'm imperfect, which, I mean, yes, everybody's imperfect, but if I think I'm imperfect, like, why does that equal bad? That's the part that I need to start looking at. Side note, she said something funny to me too. She was like, who doesn't love badass women? So I'm going to show up on Instagram in the messy middle, not having learned anything and just showing up as my badass self. So come join me on the tour, the Pura Vida bound tour. That's my new hashtag. I'm going to put that on all my stuff because I realized that, I mean, I am writing a memoir right now. I am writing the memoir of getting ready to move to Costa Rica and all the stuff I need to do and all of the emotions that are coming up with it and all of the struggles that I'm having that I don't have the answers for yet. And yeah, so my this is my raw data, and I guess I'm reframing it to that. It's not imperfection, it's just raw data. So that's kind of my author update. Just lots of talking myself into showing up online and not being so afraid to be seen, which is kind of weird because, I mean, I like teaching. I like getting on stage and coaching and teaching classes and speaking at conferences. You know, I think I'm a good public speaker. But when it comes to showing up online, like without a slide deck, you know what I mean? Like it's not curated, I guess, maybe. And I think, should it be curated? You know, I mean, Instagram is highly curated. So maybe I just am getting used to showing up not so filtered. And that if I want to document this move, I need to be willing to show up like without that filter, without that Instagram filter. So more to come. Follow hashtag Pura Vida Bound. All right. I just finished reading The Let Them Theory by Mel Robbins. Great book. I thought it was just going to be kind of a repetitive, like generic self-help, but there were some nuggets in there that I took. It was a library book, so I couldn't write in it, but yeah, there were a couple nuggets in there that I was like, this is life-changing. I'm totally going to remember this. So that means I just finished it today. So that means I'm going to go back to High Hopes by Anne Abel, the memoir about following Bruce Springsteen around the Australian tour. So that's happening. All right. Well, I think that leads us to the main topic how to write a book that grows your business and honors your spirit. So I guess I wanted to start by talking about the problem with traditional like business book advice. So if you're writing a nonfiction book for your business, like a book is business card, the problems that might show up when you're writing one of those is that it kind of sounds like a sales page. And it lacks like a deeper mission statement. So make sure that you're putting those whys in there. WHYS. Why are you writing this book? Why is this your calling? Why does the reader want to know this? So you're focusing, I guess, the traditional business book advice is to focus on like the funnel, the book as a funnel, like if I can get a person to buy this book and they read it, then maybe they'll hire me as blank, whatever it is that you're doing. So instead of focusing on that, making sure you've got, pieces of your mission in there, that calling, that why. And also like book as business card. I mean, there's again, nothing wrong with that. Like, I think that you should write a book as a business card because it does work. But if you're making it be just that traditional book as business card, then sometimes that's too rigid for creative, soul-led entrepreneurs. If you're an intuitive writer, then having too much structure sometimes kind of kills your writing process. So just kind of keep that in mind, like as we go forward. So what does it really mean to write a soul-aligned book that supports your business? Well, I think it means that your book, instead of it being like a billboard that says, I'm a book coach, or for instance, or I'm an editor, or I'm a ghostwriter, or whatever. If it's not one of those, then your book can become this like bridge for the reader to you. So you're trying to connect with the reader, and people buy stuff from people they connect with, whether it's because they like the ad they saw on Instagram, or if it's because they listen to a podcast and then they like the way they talk about business. Whatever it is, people buy from those they connect. So if you write this book as business card, but also soul-led and intuitive, your book is a bridge, not a billboard. So this is the book you're writing. The reason why this book can grow your business in an authentic way is because it builds this credibility and trust with those aligned clients. So if somebody picks up your book, they read your message, they feel aligned with that same message, they're going to feel like they trust you because you kind of match, energetically, and they're going to look up to you, and they're going to start finding other ways to connect with you online and reach out to you and maybe work with you. So it builds credibility and trust with aligned clients. It also helps you develop your brand. So your core message is going to show up in this book if you write it that way, and it's going to help your readers and potential clients get to know you. It also expands your reach. And this is, I think, why most people want to write a business book, or it doesn't have to be a business book, but when I say business book, I mean the book as business card. So the Let Them theory, for instance, Mel Robbins writes a lot of books. She has this award-winning podcast. She's a award-winning public speaker. She goes all over the world and speaks in public. So this is a way for her to reach the masses with her message, with her let them theory, in a way that's not going to burn her out. She doesn't have to travel all over the world to talk about this. She can if she wants to, but in a sustainable way, she can give this talk, this speech, this message in book format, and it can reach, a grand mass of people. So it's going to expand your reach without burnout. And I also want to just do a little plug here, just momentarily, about marketing. Marketing has such a bad rap, it feels gimmicky, salesy, ick, giving your consumers the ick. But instead, if you look, we're writers. If we look at it as storytelling and sharing instead of marketing, I think it becomes more palatable. And it's also more magnetic. Like, you're going to reach the people that need to hear your message if you just share it, instead of thinking about how can I market this book. If you're just sharing it and sharing your message, about what's in the book, then you become more magnetic. Another thing that's important to do when you're writing this book is to try not to regurgitate other things you've heard from other people in your industry or other books you've read. I remember when I first wrote how to write a novel book. I never published it because the feedback I got from my beta readers was it kind of felt like a book report. There wasn't enough of me in it. And I was just regurgitating other people's take on how to write good characters, or for example. So you've got a unique framework maybe about talking about something or teaching something, or a transformational process that you take your clients through. So letting that shape the content of the book becomes maybe a more authentic way to write it. Also, bonus, as you are creating your next offer, if you do author services or course creation or anything like that. So as you are creating your next offer, you can also be writing about it. I wrote a book with a couple of other people called Writing How-To Books. It's part of the 3-Story Method series. I have a link to it in the show notes. And so that book talks about how to write how-to books by teaching. And that the book kind of writes itself. So you can come up with the offers and the things that you're selling, the courses that you're creating. You can do that and write the book simultaneously. And the Writing How-To book tells you how to do that. It's pretty meta. I liked it. It was fun to write it. And it was my first time co-writing too. That was really interesting. Okay, so avoiding the trap of performance. If you're writing with the audience in your mind, then you've got your ideal client in your mind. You're talking to them. You're explaining things to them. You're sharing things with them. You're not writing for their approval. One of the best things I did for my writing was realizing one year in 2017, I realized for the first time that my husband was not my ideal reader. And that totally opened up my ability to write. I had been stifling myself a lot because, I was imagining him reading it and I really wanted it to, him to like it. And so I was writing for his approval, unbeknownst to him, but, I realized after a while, wait a minute, he doesn't even read the genre that I write in. So he's never going to read this. Or even if he does, it doesn't matter if he likes it or not, because he's not the one buying it, he's not my audience. So that's really freeing to be able to write with your audience in mind, writing, to your ideal reader, ideal client, not for their approval. And then if you let go of any shoulds along the way and just write from that intuitive soul-led service, again, connecting with the why am I doing this? Why am I writing this? Why is this message important? Who needs to hear this? Why is it important that they hear this? Writing from that place, that will help you, prevent that like imposter syndrome or like that performance anxiety, I suppose. So ways that you can be more aligned in practicality when you're writing. I'm really into rituals, and I like reflecting on my months, it's part of my planner reflection ritual process. I do it every month. So I do those things as part of my lifestyle. And I also incorporate it as part of my plotting, when I'm working on outlines. So keep doing that. If you're writing this book and you're trying to put you into it so that it doesn't just feel like a business card, then keep doing those things that you do. Like if you light a candle when you write a novel, then light a candle when you are writing this book as a business card. I guess it's the way to speak directly to that dream client and act as if you're in like a sacred conversation. And an example of that would be, I was talking to a couple of coaches. Again, this was like another message I keep hearing over and over again in my world, about bringing healing into my book coaching. Like I used to be a massage therapist, and I loved the way I felt in my body and in my spirit when I was practicing massage, when I was getting ready to practice massage. I would, how I would set up the room and how I would prepare myself energetically for when a client was going to come in. And I felt so good. The name of my massage business was Sacred Space Massage and Reiki. Like I was all there. I really loved it. And my body physically just couldn't take more massage clients. So I knew that I could never like get any bigger than I was. So I retired myself from massage practice. But I really miss it. And I have been trying to figure out a way to add healing into my book coaching. And so I've, incorporating ritual and meditation and oracle spreads. And, like this is all part of the kind of book coaching that I do now. And so you can do whatever it is that you do in practicality, like keep doing that as you're writing this book. And that will help you write the book too. Just be you when you're writing it. Put you in it so that it doesn't just sound like a book report. So, in encouraging closing words, I hope they're inspiring you to write this book. I think your audience needs to hear it. The message is solid. You need to get that into the ears and the eyes of the people that need to hear it. And you don't have to choose between success and soul when you're writing your book. I think your book needs to have both. And the more you write from you, from your youiest you, your essence, the more magnetic that message becomes, and also then therefore your business becomes. So, and also, I guess I don't know where else to put this. Maybe I should have said this earlier, but if you write to be liked, then you're going to be diluting your magic. And I'm saying this because I need to hear it too. I watch Project Runway. I'll even rewatch it sometimes because I like seeing the creative process. And anyway, it's kind of like a memoir sort of, because I'm watching in real time these people trying and succeeding and trying and failing. And the ones that fail on the show are because they didn't stay true to themselves as a designer. and it showed in the clothes that they made. So if you don't stay true to yourself and write from your essence and write from who you are, even if it polarizes, even if it pushes some people away, it's going to attract the people that need your magic. Maybe journal on this. What is your magic? What is it that you want your audience to hear? And how can you bring that out in your manuscript? So I hope that you know that, and again, I'm saying this to myself, I hope I know, I hope we all know that when we write from our truth, that the audience, the readers will find us. I have to believe that. It's how I can live authentically every day. If I know that if I just show up and be me as me as I can be, then the people that need that message will eventually find me. If I keep showing up on Instagram, if I keep showing up on, in published books and works, and yeah. So be well, keep writing, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.